you're watching Talking Europe on France 24. We are at the European Parliament, where many members are right now preoccupied with events on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, in the United States presidential election. Now, the result of the November 3rd poll will have direct consequences here in Europe. Will there be 4 more years of Donald Trump, who has described the European Union as a foe and launched a determined trade war with the bloc? Or will there be a new path with Joe Biden? And what impact will this election have on the course of Brexit and the UK's new relationship with the EU? We'll be debating the situation and the options ahead with 2 MEPs. On my right, we have Billy Kelleher, former Minister of Trade in Ireland. Thanks for being with us. You're now representing Fianna Fáil as part of the Renew Europe group, and you're part of the delegation for EU relations with the US, is that right?
That's correct, yes, indeed.
And 4 years ago, you were in the United States for the election.
I was. I normally observe the American elections. I mean, there's a strong connection between Ireland and America historically, so there would be always a real interest from that perspective as well. So that's why I would travel regularly to see those elections.
Absolutely. And across from you, we have a French MEP, Thierry Mariani, a former Secretary of State in Nicolas Sarkozy's government, member of the French Rassemblement National party now, the party of Marine Le Pen. She and your party have openly supported Donald Trump. And if I'm correct, a couple of your colleagues are going to be in the United States in the final days.
Yes, Jérôme Rivière and Jordan Bardella are on the way to go and to participate on the last day of the campaign of Donald Trump. And of course, to be for the day of election with their team.
OK, so I think we'll have to start with a really basic question for both of you. Come back to you, Billy Kelleher. Which candidate out of Joe Biden and Donald Trump you would prefer to see in the White House for the next 4 years?
Well, I'd like to see Joe Biden for a number of reasons. I mean, from an Irish perspective, I think that he would be a friendlier face in the White House. I think he has a deeper knowledge of the peace process in Northern Ireland. He is an internationalist. He's outward-looking. And we don't want a divisive figure like Donald Trump in the White House at the moment. And I think America has to find its place internationally again. I think Joe Biden would be a better president for all those reasons. Donald Trump is adversarial. He picks on minority groupings. He tries to instill distrust in international organisations like the World Trade Organization and many others, the UN. So I just think in general, America needs to find its place. And I think they would find it better with Joe Biden in the White House.
Thierry Mariani, Donald Trump has lost America's place, Billy Kelleher said.
Well, as a MEP from France, I'm thinking about what is the interest of Europe and what is the interest of France. And thinking about the history of Europe, I hope that Donald Trump will be re-elected again. I don't think like American citizen. I think like European citizen. And what is my dream? I enter in politics dreaming like General de Gaulle in Europe independent. Europe as a power and not just as allied all the time from America. And I think that under Donald Trump, America was more isolationist. It pushed Europe to take a more independent position. And I hope that if Donald Trump is re-elected, it will be a chance for Europe to become more independent, to take more different place in the international scene. And it could be something to wake up Europe.
Donald Trump isn't trying to help Europe, is he? He's described Europe as a foe. He's launched a trade war against Europe, which has put European jobs under threat. If you look at the aerospace war between Airbus and Boeing, for example, jobs in France.
I agree for you, and don't forget the French wine. It's the same.
And Irish whiskey.
I don't forget. But excuse me, this is just a conflict about trade. Of course, it's important. But I repeat, for me, the important question is who will be the power, the superpower in the next 30 years. And in the next 30 years, I saw China, I saw America, I saw maybe some country like India, but for the moment, I don't see Europe. Why? Because I think we are thinking all the time inside this place like we are a member of NATO and we must support America. Look, for example, the position in Europe about Iran. We said, we take a bad position, but we don't have choice because we must be behind America. That's why I hope Donald Trump will succeed, and that's hope it will be a chance for Europe.
Do you see any chances for Europe in Donald Trump?
Well, I think he's adversarial, first and foremost. I think he's divisive. He also wants to see a weak Europe. Let's be very clear. He wants to see a weak Europe. He supported Brexit. He would like to see Europe struggling in terms of asserting itself internationally. He wants America to be dominant just because it will be for America first, rather than trying to ensure that the whole world lifts. And if America can't find its place comfortably over the next 4 years, well then, you know, the whole world will struggle. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, a large democracy. It is a world superpower in terms of its military, but economically, is at the heart of everything that happens in the world. And Donald Trump has this idea that it's America first. And I don't think that's good for America, and it's not good for the world. So in general, I would be very concerned, and the views that Donald Trump holds about Europe, not just the politics of Europe and the economics of Europe, but how we stand socially and culturally as well, are things that I think that Joe Biden would sit easier with. He's internationalist, he's open-minded. Donald Trump is very divisive. Even in America, he's very divisive. He picks on minorities, he picks on groups that aren't necessarily supportive of the Republican agenda, and that I think is something that's, you know, is very distasteful.
Well, just speaking about Joe Biden, though, I mean, he has America's interests at heart if he becomes the US president. He's certainly, no US president would be putting foreign countries' interests before the United States. So in what way would Joe Biden be better for Europe?
Well, Joe Biden would be better for many reasons, because, I mean, he would see his place as the president of the United States. In other words, it is a world superpower. So it would play its part on the international stage. As Thierry said, like, Donald Trump is isolationist in his views. He's inward looking. Joe Biden would be outward looking. And America has always prospered, and the world has always prospered when you had a benign, outward looking American policy, both in trade and foreign policy. Donald Trump, as I said, is too divisive and more insular in how he's approached, trying to repatriate multinationals, trying to repatriate American companies, and also instigating trade wars with China, with Europe and elsewhere. You know, we want America to be at the centre of things, but in a positive light as opposed to a negative light that Donald Trump would show.
Well, one of those multilateral aspects, you know, there's been criticism from Donald Trump of NATO. We heard from John Bolton that he says he had to talk Donald Trump out of pulling the US out of NATO. There has been a mass troop pullout announced by Donald Trump from Germany. Doesn't Donald Trump leave the EU less safe in a very real sense?
Well, first, I noticed that it's the first time since a long, long time that there is a not new war start by American president. It's a fact. For the first time, 4 years without new war with America.
Other wars have gone on, though. Let's be honest.
Yes, but not new war. Second, I agree with you when you said, for example, Donald Trump withdraw some troops from NATO, from Germany. But I repeat, I think it's a chance for Europe. Europe will exist the day where we have a common defense or common foreign affairs. And for that, we need to have a strong force together. If NATO, little by little, is less present in Europe, maybe some country will push the defense effort. And I repeat, I think it's a chance for Europe. That's why maybe it's the interest of America, but I think it is the interest of Europe, too, to have less American troops inside our continent. And in fact, I don't think that inside the European continent there is a danger in this moment.
But, like, you can't have it both ways. I mean, the National Front in France is very anti-European. In the context of the European Union, it would like to withdraw from the European Union. So how can you have a strong Europe when at the same time your party supports the dismantling of the European Union? I mean, so that's
because
but that is the reality.
Because, excuse me, we are for European of nation. What we are waiting, for example, look what's happened in this moment in Sahel, in the center of Africa. We are against Islamists. What are we waiting? We are waiting that near the French troops, we have more German troops, Italian troops, Spanish troops together. It's not necessary that there is just one army together. It's necessary that we work together. And that's why I think if the American or the NATO are less present in Europe, it could be a chance to push all the Europeans to go in the same direction.
Yeah, but I mean, to do that and to have a common foreign policy, you would have to have some entity like the European Union to to build on that. I mean, the idea that every member state in itself would be able to operate jointly with all the others without an umbrella over that like the European Union, I just don't think would work. And Donald Trump supports the breaking up of the European Union. He was very supportive of Brexit. It's because he sees the European Union as something that, you know, could compete, but could also complement if we worked in partnership. But Donald Trump doesn't like partnerships. He likes division.
Excuse me, do you think honestly that English people vote in favour of Brexit thanks to Donald Trump? I know he supported.
No, he supported it though.
But what is his influence in the British vote?
Very little influence, but the fact is that he did support it.
Yes, that's true.
And he would support the breaking up of the European Union as well, which is something I oppose. I think the European Union has been very positive in Europe. And you talk about wars, let's be honest, we've had very few wars in Europe since the Second World War, and that is primarily down to the workings of countries coming together under the European Union.
And I'm afraid we will probably have to leave it there. But thank you both so much for discussing this really interesting US election and its impact that it could have here in Europe. I'd like to thank both of our guests, Thierry Mariani and Billy Kelleher. Thank you very much for your time. We will, of course, have to wait and see what the results are of the US presidential election. And I'm sure it'll give us plenty to discuss for the next 4 years as well. So thanks to you both. Thanks to you as well for watching. Hope to see you soon here on France 24 for more Talking Europe.